Hey everybody, how's it going? My name is Will and welcome to Copper Jacket TV. Hopefully everybody out there is doing well. So unfortunately today I have some bad news. One of the three major gun bills that we've been following very closely here in the state of California has just passed both chambers and is now on its way to the governor's desk. So we need to talk about what it is and what amendments were made right before it was passed. So let's go ahead and get to it. Now, real quick before we get started, this video is proudly sponsored by American Heart for Gold. Listen, everybody in the firearms community understands the value of precious metals. Brass and lead could protect your life, but silver and gold can protect your savings. You know, in our lifetime, the dominance of the US dollar was supreme, but that may change soon. The stock market swings back and forth every day, and we're facing record inflation, increasing costs, and unprecedented tariffs. So don't let your life savings become a casualty of market crashes or tariff wars. In times of economic chaos like now, there is one currency that stood the test of time and continues to increase in value: physical gold and silver. Now, they can print more dollars, but they can't print any more gold. While the value of the dollar is tanking, the value of gold is hitting record heights, with many predicting that gold might reach $5,000 an ounce by the end of 2025. Now is the time to call the only precious metal dealer that I trust, American Heart for Gold. They'll show you how to protect your savings and retirement accounts by diversifying your wealth portfolio with physical gold and silver delivered directly to your door. You can also transfer your current retirement account into a gold IRA, tax and penalty free, with the finest products, amazing customer service, and buyback commitment. American Heart for Gold has a 5-star rating from thousands of reviews and an A+ from the Better Business Bureau. In a sea of anti-2A companies, American Heart for Gold proudly supports pro-2A content. If you contact American Heart for Gold today and tell them I sent you, they will give you up to $15,000 of free silver on your first order. So call them now. Click the link in the description or call 866-856-2507. That's 866-856-2507, or text COPPER to 65532. Again, that's 866-856-2507, or text COPPER to 65532. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about what's going on here. So for the past 6 or 7 months, we have been following three bills very closely as they make their way through the California State Legislature. These bills have a direct effect on your Second Amendment rights in the state of California, and they are very significant in their own separate ways. These bills are AB 1127, SB704, and AB 1078. Each one of these bills has been flying through the process. There has been almost no resistance. They've been voted on party lines, and because California has a supermajority on the left, there's really just not enough votes on the right to make any difference that would be consequential at all. And so the left basically gets whatever they want, and that's kind of what happened in this case. So the bill that was just recently passed was SB 704. Now, we've called SB 704 the background checks on barrels bill, but in a recent amendment, that was sort of changed. Now it's the eligibility check bill. And I'll explain to you exactly what I mean by that here in just a second. But SB 704, basically what it does is it requires a background check for just a simple barrel. That also includes registration with the California State Department of Justice. Now, this bill, which was, again, flying through the Senate, started off in the Senate, went through all the committees, was voted on in the Senate, went over to the Assembly, and flew through those committees as well, was voted on in the Assembly on September 8th. So just a few days ago now, it was voted on in the Assembly. It was then sent back over to the Senate for concurrence with all of the amendments that were made in the Assembly. Obviously, amendments were made over there. It has to go to the Senate so they can concur with those amendments, and then it has passed. So that's it. It's pretty much done with the California State Legislature now. All they have to do now is engross it, which basically means that they take all of the language that was stricken in the amendments out of the bill, take all of the blue text that was added to the bill as an amendment, and basically rewrite it with all of the amendments as one solid bill, and then it goes up to the governor's desk. But as far as like any voting goes, that's it. They're done. It's voted. SB 704, the background checks on barrels bill, has passed and is on its way to the governor's desk. With that being said, let's go ahead and talk about the latest amendments that were made to this bill before it passed. So in the original bill text, it said background checks for barrels. Now in this amended version, background checks has been stricken and replaced with eligibility checks for barrels. So now what they're going to be doing is an eligibility check very similar to what Californians have to go through for ammunition, and an eligibility check is going to cost you $5. Now, I don't know if you remember the rollout for the eligibility checks when they first started, but it was an absolute nightmare. There was a bunch of false positives. People were being denied their rights because they didn't have information in the system. It was an absolute nightmare. I mean, it was a nightmare at the rollout. It's still a nightmare to this day. And that is the same system that they're now going to be running for this as well. So when you go in, you're going to have to give all your personal identifying information, your ID, your address, name, date of birth, all that stuff is going to be on there. You're also going to have to give information about what it is exactly that you're getting and all the specific details of it. That information is then going to be transmitted to the California Department of Justice, where they're going to hang on to it, and that information is going to be searchable. So while there's no serial numbers or anything like that to specifically register a particular item, they're still going to know that at some point on this date you owned A, B, or C, right? And they're going to have that information, and that information, again, is going to be searchable at the California Department of Justice. Now, try and keep in mind that the usual people are excluded from enforcement of this law. So federal law enforcement, state law enforcement, anybody that falls in that special class doesn't have to worry about this. But you do, and it comes with some serious consequences. A misdemeanor for the very first offense, misdemeanor or felony for the second or third offense moving forward, up to a year. I mean, there's some serious things that could happen if they decide to prosecute this. So this is a very big deal. Now, if the governor actually decides to sign this, then it takes effect on July 1st of 2027. Now, I guess that kind of begs the next question is, do we think that he'll actually sign it? Because history shows us that he'll pretty much sign whatever comes across his desk, especially when it comes to this particular topic. However, this is going to cost the state money. Not as much money as if they created a whole new system for it, because they're going to be relying on the eligibility check system that already exists. It's not going to cost as much money, but this is going to cost the state money. They're probably going to need extra personnel. There's going to be a lot more paperwork. The state's not looking great. It's going to have a big fiscal impact. And because of that fiscal impact, there is like an angel hair's worth of possibility that maybe he doesn't sign it. But let's be honest, nobody's really holding their breath on that one. More than likely, he's going to end up signing this. And I just wanted to keep you guys up to date. Again, we've been following these very closely, and I've let you guys know pretty much at every turn what's going on with it. And I don't want you guys to be caught off guard and surprised by this type of stuff. So again, it's passed. It's on its way to the governor's desk. SB704 is done with the California State Legislature, and we'll see if he signs it. And I'll let you guys know. Thank you all very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, consider hitting that subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. And you all have a great day.